Hello Games is on a roll, everybody, and it seems that they have been bringing a ton of fixes and a lot of performance improvements for the game in the past week since the game has released. And of course, we are getting closer and closer to the 10th patch in just about 7 days. So this is just amazing. Of course, we're going to go over that in just a little bit. And for those who didn't know this, we have a brand new patch on the experimental branch of the PC version of the game. So let's jump right in with all of the new changes and everything else that you need to know about them. So Hello Games came in about 10 hours ago with a brand new experimental branch. This is for yesterday, and this should go live sometimes today on all of the platforms. Of course, if you're on the console, you will need to wait a few more hours until it gets certification from both Microsoft as well as Sony. But anyway, let's go over the more important changes, because I know a lot of you guys will be very pleased with these. And of course, some of the first ones we have are the fact that they have finally enabled key rebinding. This is something that a lot of players have actually been asking for, and it's finally getting back into the game. There's of course another issue for starships that kept spinning endlessly before landing on the Nexus. I'm pretty sure many of you encountered this, and it's a pretty funny bug. I kinda miss it, so this is also fixed on the experimental branch. Another very annoying bug was the one that caused your entire base to be pretty much removed when using or scrapping the signal booster. So in case you didn't know this, sometimes when taking back the signal booster, it would almost delete your entire base, or at the very least some of the building parts, and that was pretty annoying. So that also got fixed on the experimental branch. Then there's a number of crash fixes that should help with the stability. Of course, another one that really bugs me, at least in VR mode, is the one that caused hands to become invisible. Sometimes if you choose something else rather than the default hand, you'd have either the right or the left hand pretty much missing or becoming invisible, so that will also be fixed in the newest update. Also, since we're on the subject of the Nexus, a number of NPCs on the Nexus would stop interacting with the player if multiplayer was activated. So you couldn't physically speak to any of these NPCs as long as you had multiplayer activated, so that got a further fix in the new branch. Another one is for the players who couldn't summon the space anomaly after upgrading from the next update. I'm pretty sure I saw a lot of you guys having a few of these issues, and there's a couple more that have been fixed on top. So issues where players were asked to collect nanites from an unusable terminal during the Ghost in the Machine mission. Fortunately enough, I didn't have this problem yet. There was another one for the issue where players were charged too much for a starship when trading in their existing ship. So there were a few problems with the prices, and this I am happy that is getting addressed. Fixed an issue where ships that were being added to a player's fleet would be instead traded in if purchased while the player's current ship still had cargo aboard. So I'm pretty sure this got a few people up in arms about it, because it definitely sounds annoying. Then an issue that caused the upgraded module pop-up to display too aggressively and too experienced players who did not need to see it is also getting fixed. So this is something that I get every 30 seconds, and I am glad that this is actually getting addressed. If you have played in the past few days, I am sure that you saw more than a few pop-ups of some of these upgrade modules on the right side of your screen, and this happens both in VR as well as on the regular version of the game, so I'm glad that this is finally getting addressed. Then fixed an issue that caused overly dramatic camera shake in the space anomaly, and I actually didn't experience this. What I am experiencing is on planet surface when I am using a mineral extractor. If you're putting down more than a few, you're basically going to have an earthquake, as you can see right now on the screen. I mean, this is just crazy. I hope this gets fixed soon enough. Then there's a couple of crash fixes for when quitting the game or when wiring your base, and finally fixed an issue that caused the loading progress value to appear in the wrong font in certain languages. So of course this is already on the experimental branch for a number of hours already. If you want to access the experimental branch, just go ahead and type in experimental with a 3 in the beginning in the beta section of the game's properties in your Steam account. And I actually like staying on the experimental because it just brings me the latest updates before they actually hit the live servers. Anyway, as I was saying, Hello Games is pretty much on a roll. Even 2 patches crashes at the same time on one single day. And some of the other important fixes that have been brought up in the last few days are of course fixes to a ton of the crashes that were happening in the beginning days. A lot of server issues that were causing multiplayer crashes and other multiplayer problems were also addressed, especially when it comes to player syncing and all of that. So it definitely made a difference, at least in my case, to go to the Nexus, activate the multiplayer and play unrestricted and with not that many problems. Of course, graphical and performance improvements have also been brought to both the base game as well as in VR. I'm definitely seeing a lot more stability in VR as well as smoother frame rates. There's also reportedly fixes for the VR players punching people on the Nexus and pretty much killing them, and not just the Nexus, in most of the places where fighting isn't permitted. So you can still pull up your multi-tool, look at it, but you won't be able to at least kill players. If this problem still occurs to you and you're still getting punched by other players, you can turn off damage from other players in your multiplayer options and you can completely bypass this. But again, this has been fixed a number of patches ago. But moving on, there's also a Vulkan workaround for some of the AMD driver issues that have been posted by a number of players. There were talks in the No Man's Sky community about the fact that there's constant errors about the Vulkan drivers not being up to date, and just updating the graphics card drivers wouldn't help with that. So hopefully the workaround posted a few days ago helped with that. Also improvements to base loading when the limit is almost reached or even exceeded. There's a number of fixes that Hello Games implemented in order to make base building load faster. And finally, there's a ton of other fixes for all kinds of random bugs, such as falling through the ground on the Nexus or other places, as well as base NPCs having wrong dialogue options when you talk to them. And since Beyond is such a huge update, it of course had a number of issues, but I am glad that Hello Games is on top of things. And one more final thing before finishing this video, also No Man's Sky Beyond is going to have a re-release for the PS4 version of the game. So we even have a brand new cover, and here it is. This is how the new physical version of the game is going to look like. We have the brand new cover art over there. We have PlayStation VR mode included at the top, enhance your gameplay with PSVR. So all of this is all for the PS4. I'm really curious if the PC version of the game is also going to get something like this, because it's been announced that both the PC and the PS4 version is going to get a re-release. According to the latest news coming from the main PlayStation Twitter account, the No Man's Sky physical re-release is going to happen next month for the PS4 version of the game. So that is when you'll be able to get this precise physical version of the game. I only wish that the astronaut in the middle was a little bit zoomed out so that more of the details on him could be seen. He seems to be a little bit cropped out, but otherwise I think the cover art looks quite pretty. Of course, it uses the same Beyond wallpaper that we got used to. Anyway, let me know down below what's your opinion on this, and also don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video, subscribe and activate the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.